Do we have a John Wick Ender amongst us?
Maybe.
So look, Monkey Man just premiered at South by Southwest and it was met with a standing ovation. And what's interesting about this film is that this is an actor turned director. Interesting also because currently on Rotten Tomatoes, it's sitting at a 91%. Now, if you've ever watched any Kaylex short films, you're familiar with the master cinematographer, George. He was over in South by Southwest competing and he got to see Monkey Man early, ahead of time.
Yes, sir.
Before a lot of people.
So yeah, I saw Monkey Man premiere at South by Southwest. It features Dev Patel, who went on a revenge tour for the guys that killed his mom in a corrupt Indian hierarchy. It features car chases and dope kitchen battle scenes. So at the end of the movie, Dev Patel did like a Q&A, and they kind of just said some trivia about the film that people didn't know, kind of answered some questions. So what's crazy is that Neil Blomkamp was actually supposed to direct this film. He pitched it to Neil, and Neil was like, bro, this is your script. You might as well just direct it. For this film, Dave in particular said that he wanted this to feel in a more personable manner. You know, he wanted people to be able to relate to his experience as the main character versus other action films where, you know, they're just badass all the time. Dave kind of feels unrefined, you know, it feels like a come-up story of a guy who really just fighting against the gods, you know?
Right.
So what's crazy is we almost didn't even get this movie. Apparently, Dev Patel, they went over budget, and he said Jordan Peele and Monkey Paw Productions came and saved it.
That's fire. Monkey Paw Productions comes in to save Monkey Man. So currently this movie's sitting at a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. To be fair, it's only been about like 30-ish reviews, and then on IMDb, it's sitting somewhere around an 8.2.
Yeah.
So this seems like a fun film. Welcome to another episode of Kaylex Encounter, and if you've been here before, someone said Dev Patel receives a standing ovation for being the writer, director, producer, and star of Monkey Man.
Absolutely.
A visual spectacle, revenge action movie that draws from Bruce Lee, Korean cinema, The Raid, and John Wick.
For sure.
Hashtag Monkey Man blew the roof off of South by Southwest. The crowd went ape for it. The hype train seems to be real because then someone else said, okay, there was action before Dev Patel, and now there's action after Dev Patel. I'm fucking speechless.
It's fire, like it's a good film, but like.
Oh yeah, that's how you feel? Cause somebody else said this. Look, somebody else said, Monkey Man, directed by Dev Patel, is one of the best action movies of our time. His directorial debut, and he absolutely executes it masterfully. Visceral and action-packed, with a new style unseen before. People are gonna absolutely love this. Talented as hell.
If you're looking at it from a solely action point of view, sure, it was a visual spectacle. And I can understand why people would say the action, they hold it on that sort of a standard, you know, but if we're gonna look at it from a overall standpoint, that's where, you know, I have my disagreements with some of these people.
Oh, word?
But yeah, no.
You think hold on, you think they gassing? South by Southwest might be clouding the air. Well, it says, the air of Olympus is clouding your judgment.
The air on Olympus affects your thinking.
and here's the thing, you know, when you see a film with an audience of 1,200 people, you know.
Damn.
Yeah. The reactions of others tend to allow you to feel emotions that you probably would not have felt. You know, so when he grabs a glass and like smashes it into somebody's neck and then throws him to the ground, it's like, yo, that was dope. But when the crowd is like, ooh, ah, it's like, yo, it makes it more hype.
Yeah.
People break out into applause, it's like, all right, that was fire. It's like Kingsman meets The Raid, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I like the fights in Kingsman though. I think it was like very innovative.
Exactly.
And then The Raid is just classic combat.
So I say that because, you know, The Raid, they like to hold the action sequences. You see every punch. You see the choreography, you see the slams, you see the flips. And it's the same thing with, you know, the way the focus shifts from the person grabbing the knife and then stabbing someone in the neck. And
Right.
Like,
That's hard.
We see everything.
If you guys are enjoying this episode, go ahead, click the like button, subscribe. We got a whole bunch of movie talks on this channel. We'll let you get back to the episode.
Visually, it's a stunning film.
Okay.
Like there's no point in the film that you look and you say, this does not intrigue me. It's visually stunning. It's gritty. It's bloody. It's dirty. You feel the texture on the film. And I think I enjoyed that part the most as a cinematographer because it's a visual spectacle. Like, there's no scenes where it's not visually captivating. You know, this is not your A24 art house kind of film where you do these alternate framing and try to make it look cute.
Right.
No, it's straight, get to the acting. I'm punching you in your face.
I rock with that.
I'm slamming you like.
I rock with that.
We got car chases, I'm getting hit, like it's.
So you feel the hits, you feel the
for sure.
impact.
It's very kinetic. And
I can't wait to watch this,
That's
bro.
what separates it, and I think that's why I feel he's onto something. It's very kinetic.
But what about the story and like the way it flows?
I would say it's nothing we haven't seen before.
Okay.
It's your typical action hero who, you know, is on a revenge tour, you know, a warpath.
Okay.
So that's not new in that sense. What I would say is new is the way it's presented. And I think that's where the value comes from. But I will say, you know, because of that, because they try to do it differently, we go a good half of the movie and we don't know the character's motivations. But because of that also, it adds intrigue. You know, it adds a little layer of mystery as to why is he doing this? You know, what exactly is his driving goal? So then when we get to the point where we reveal his motivations, you know, it feels like, okay, now we can be on board with this character. So solid story, you know, but I feel like the action really carries it, because one area of the film that I was a little iffy about, there was like this training arc, and to me, that was the only area of the film where, you know, I didn't feel it had as much depth as the rest of the film. It felt a little contrived. I didn't feel personally that the training arc turned him into what he was by the end of the film. That's, I guess, the most I can say without spoiling it. I'm not complaining about the action portion. I can't complain about that. They nailed that. For me, where it takes the hits, the pacing at times, the story is what it is. Like I said, they present it in a way that still makes it feel interesting. But by the end of the film, you're like, all right, that was the story. You know, like it's not deeper than what you think it is. They have a Hindu mythos that they tie into his motivations. The mythos that they tie into it, it doesn't feel as well connected as I would like. But what I do feel is that he's on to something. What he did with Monkey Man, people are gonna start biting the swag.
So what's the difference then between this movie and John Wick? Like all the stuff John Wick is giving us.
You know, John Wick, he's the Baba Yaga. He's John fucking Wick.
Right.
You know, it's like,
and you know nobody gonna stop him.
You send your army after John Wick, he's gonna take him out one by one. And that is not Monkey Man. You know, Monkey Man, as Dev Patel said, he said this in the beginning of the film, he wanted to respect action films in a way and bring them back to the point where the audience can put themselves in the character's shoes. You know, they can relate to a character's struggles a little bit, and they can also see, you know, themselves in the main character. And that's, I guess, the difference when it comes to John Wick, because John Wick, for that sense, feels like popcorn.
Right.
You know, it's like I'm watching an entertainment spectacle or narrative unfold, and I don't connect with this character, but it's entertaining. And it's different from Monkey Man because, you know, he is the underdog at all times in the film.
Because I'm familiar with Dev Patel as an actor. So I feel like, from what I heard from you, I feel like give him another film and it's gonna be way sharper. But look, for the rest of us, Monkey Man's coming out in April. I'm hyped for it, so we're definitely gonna be dropping another Monkey Man video, and we'll see you in the next encounter.